Hey guys, so I was thinking about not even uploading this video, but this is a video I did and it didn't end up well. The silicone did not work and I'm going to redo it. Luckily the sculpture got saved and I can still rework the sculpture. But in this video I was hoping that I would make a silicone mold of it and I could start making some casts, but something happened. And I do think I know what happened. I didn't mix the silicone long enough, and I think that's what created it. So I'm kind of showing you the beginning steps because the beginning steps worked really well, making the mother mold up to the point where I actually mixed the silicone. So I'm going to show you the video and then I'll start talking when I make the mistake.
I have 2 pieces of wood. This is actually like just a leftover piece. I'm going to put it here and I'm going to give it just a little bit of space here so I can pour in the liquid. I don't want too much because I don't want to waste the silicone. It's very expensive. And we're going to put another one here. So we're going to be making a little bit of a shell and you can kind of stagger it like this. So this is just a simple piece of wood, and I'm just going to move this aside. So this way we're going to screw these in and we're going to have plenty of space to pour it. We're not going to pour it all the way, but this is going to be enough for the silicone. Have the box, but I'm not going to use silicone. I have some old oil-based clay here. This is, I believe, Chavant. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in these edges here, and that's going to act as a sealant in case the silicone wants to pour out, just to make sure that silicone is very expensive, so you don't want to lose any of it pouring out. You could use silicone, you could use hot glue, anything to kind of stop the clay from pouring, or the silicone from pouring out of these little seams here. This is a technique I found a couple of other sculptors do online. YouTube is always so good to learn various techniques. And what I think I might do is put a little glue over here. And I think that's all we need. We don't need that much. Time to just let it dry a bit. I'm going to come back in a bit and I'm going to seal up the plywood to the base. So this should be kind of tight, and now we're going to take our clay and I'm going to try and seal it on the outside because it's a little bit easier. Just one more edge here. So now I still have some clay and I'm going to try and seal the inside, because it's a lot better, but it's a little bit harder to reach. So I just want to make sure that I can do that. So I'm doing the exact same thing that I did on the outside, except on the inside. Oh, that's a lot better. So I just put this here and we are almost done. I think this is the more tedious part of mold making. So this is the silicone that I'm going to be using. This is part A, this is part B. I've never used this particular kind. The only reason I got this is because I got this for very cheap. This is $100 something on Amazon. I got this for 40 bucks locally. Some guys just wanted to get rid of it. So this is called Unicorn Art by Artist for Artist. Platinum silicone rubber, marvelous mold making kit. You know, you use part A to B. It's equal parts, which I like. Okay, so what I have here, there are 2 cups. This is what I've done before for mold making. So I have 2 cups. I like that are transparent so you can see the volume. And then I have this bigger cup that I'll be pouring the contents into here. So I'm going to put A and then B here. And the way the instructions are is that you have to stir each one of them. So let's do that. And I'm going to put my mold over here out of the way. So we have our Unicorn Art Part A right here. And it's still unopened, which is really nice. There we go. Oh, before I do that, I'm actually going to spray the silicone on my... The silicone just helps, I guess, it not sticking. So this is part A. There's a little bit of a smell. You know, I think I might put a little bit more. I don't know exactly how much I need, but there we go. That's part A. And let's get part B. Here we go, part B. This is part B. So we just have to measure equal amounts. This one's a little bit thicker. So I usually just kind of line it up like this. So I put a little bit too much of part B. So I'm going to get a little bit of part A now. Let's see, a little bit more. And that's perfect.
So right about here is where I made the mistake. I should be using a stir that's really good, and I did not stir this long enough. Even though I am stirring quite a bit in the video, I need to stir this for a few minutes, much more than I did, because I don't think I stirred both A and B together quite as thoroughly, and I should use something other than just a stick. So this is a big mistake, and this is the reason I wanted to upload this video, is so you can see my mistake. It's the combining of the A and the B together and not mixing it good enough. I should have spent a whole lot more time getting this done. And this is a very expensive mistake, so hopefully you're going to learn from my mistake. I got the silicone, I got it cheap locally because the guy didn't use it, but this is like $100 something. So a really big mistake. I was hoping on, making a really good mold of this, making a few reproductions, giving it to friends, putting it up on my Etsy shop. Well, that didn't work out my way. So hopefully you can see from my mistakes, but the proportions that I mixed in are right, but I should have mixed it a whole lot more and spent a whole lot more time. So here I am pouring it. The pour worked out well. So if you mixed it properly and you got to this point, you should have come out with a decent mold. So this is the correct steps getting to it. But it just didn't take. I'll show you at the end what it ended up looking. I'm very disappointed in it, but it's kind of important to learn from your mistakes, and I'm an expert in making mistakes, so hopefully some of you guys will learn from me.
You might have to just get just a little bit more to cover Beavis a little bit more. Yeah. So I'm going to stir just a little bit more because I want Beavis to be just a little bit more covered. Here we go. This is part A. And let's get part B. We just need a little bit. And we have to work fairly fast here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Just I'm going to equal it out just a little bit with A. Okay. And I'm just going to mix it together really quick here. This stuff is extremely expensive. And I was surprised that I found this very cheap. There we go. So let's stir this really well. I'm trying to do this as quick as possible because I don't want this to harden up too much. But it's still pretty soft. There are other silicones that are different colors. That's always kind of nice, but here we go. Just get beavers, all of that in there. This is my first time using silicone, by the way, so I'm sure I made some mistakes here. Like that. And let's throw this away. We're not going to use this again. I think I should balance this. I think it's a little bit high. Yeah. I think it should be like this. There we go. So now all we have to do is let it dry. I don't know how long it's going to take to dry. Okay, I let this dry overnight. It is pretty solid. There's some spots here that are wet. I don't really know what's going on, but yeah, so that is pretty much what it is. So we're going to be removing the mother mold. So let's, okay, let's remove this side. You see that? That is kind of wet. I don't know why it didn't take that, but oh, here we go. One side. Okay. There we go. So I'm not going to use those pieces of wood, but that's pretty solid. The only thing that's very strange is that the silicone on the sides is still wet. So before I do anything else, I think I'm just going to let it dry a bit. I don't know if you guys can tell, but there is some bubbles, but it's kind of wet towards the bottom edge. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry. And it does seem like right over there, I don't have as much. There's a little bit of the clay there, but this is, I think it's just on the surface that it's wet, but at the bottom here it's definitely kind of wet. So I'm going to let this dry over a little bit more, and tomorrow I will just get it, because I don't want to pull it off. You know, the cool thing about this, I don't think it damages the clay very much, so you can kind of pull it off. And what I find about this sort of oil-based clay sort of things is that I can make a copy, a mold, pull it out, and then I can modify my relief sculpture, and then make another mold with a different sort of sculpture with very little work. It's very interesting, but yeah, I am a little worried about this softness on the sides. Doesn't seem like it took very well, but I think it should be fairly good. I'm just going to let this dry a little bit more, and then tomorrow I'll just come back and clean it up. Okay guys, it is time to remove the mold. This is very solid here, but on the sides it's still soggy. So I don't really know why it became soggy. Maybe, I really hope that it didn't screw up, but I'm gonna just kind of wipe this out. You can see how slick this is. Doesn't give me a lot of confidence. It's been about a week drying. So I'm gonna pull the mold off. It's kind of soft. There we go. Weird. There we go. So that's the mold. It looks pretty good. This is way too wet on the inside. This is very concerning. So I'm not sure if this has been a successful mold. Yeah, don't really know. Look how wet the clay is. I am not exactly sure, but I'm a little disappointed.
So even though the mold got made, when you look at the details, the wetness of the mold created all this texture around Beavis and Butthead's face and everywhere in between. I'm probably going to like do a cast just so I can see how it turned out, but there was a reaction that it just didn't work out. Maybe it's the silicone spray that I put on. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to try this again. I'm going to clean up the plasticine sculpture, and I'm going to retry it because I am, once you do this, you kind of want it to work. But the silicone works. The outside is nice and firm, but you can see all the little patterns in there that should not be there. It should be smooth. So I'm probably going to use, like even the edges, they're too soft. So towards the edge, it seems soft, as if the mixture didn't work well. So that's what I'm thinking. I think that it was just my mistake, and I'm probably going to redo this. But I wanted to show you what a mistake like this would look like. And I think a lot of times on YouTube, you don't see people making mistakes. And if you look through my channel, you'll see me trying mold making, and I've failed many times. I am not very good at it, and I know I need to get better, so I just keep practicing. So the reliefs are probably the easiest way of making molds. I've been at least successful in some of them. My Hellboy one, my plaques of the dead birds, they've all worked out fairly well. But it's always disappointing when it doesn't work out. So that's it for the video, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching, and please learn from my mistakes and don't do this the way I do it.